welcome to the program Healthy Living on Trust Television. I'm Aisha Salihu. On this episode, we'll bring you up to speed on a particular and peculiar eye condition known as glaucoma. With World Glaucoma Week underway 12th March through 18th March, set aside every year to create the much needed awareness about this eye condition. According to experts, glaucoma still remains the silent thief of sight. To make better sense of what this eye condition is, I have on standby an optometrist who's going to take us through its diagnosis, management, risk factors, and success of treatment. Welcome to the program, Doc.
Thank you.
Now, let us start off with the data from research, which has it that about 80 million people have glaucoma worldwide. What can you say is the cause of this massive figure?
Well, 80 million people have been accounted for that have glaucoma worldwide. However, this number is only 10% of people that have been screened. So there are over 90% of glaucoma patients that are not even accounted for. So if you do the maths, it means that there may be up to over 700 million people that have glaucoma, but have not had the adequate tests to know that they have glaucoma. Now, glaucoma, we don't say it has any particular cause. It would be a misnomer to call it a cause. However, there are predisposing factors to glaucoma. One of them is age. People above the age of 40 are more likely to have glaucoma. Then race. We of the black race are very likely to have glaucoma as compared to people of other races. And even in a Ministry of Health recent study, it was shown that people from the southeast in Nigeria are more likely to have glaucoma than people from other regions in Nigeria. Now, we have use of certain medications that could cause people to have glaucoma, steroid medications. That's why a lot of times we always advocate against self-medication, because these kind of medications can elevate the eye pressures in the eye and cause glaucoma. Then positive family history is also a very important predisposing factor. Now, if any member of your family has glaucoma, it's always advised that you should have your eyes checked and screened for glaucoma. This is because if your sibling has glaucoma, there's a 4 times more chance that you or other siblings will have glaucoma. And if a parent has glaucoma, there's a 6 times more chance that you or your siblings would have glaucoma. This was a study that was done in the United States. So these are the major and the basic predisposing factors to glaucoma. Then also history of a trauma to the eye injury predisposes people to glaucoma. That's why we always tell people, no matter how little you feel that hits or blow or a ball that hits the eye, have your eyes screened, because something may be going on that you are not aware of.
You did mention a recent study or research by the Federal Ministry of Health about people in the Southeast. I'd like to know, why are they particular about people in the Southeast? Is there any activity they're engaging in that is predisposing them to glaucoma?
Not necessarily any activity. It's more of genes. Glaucoma has to do with genes. It's our genes as black people that makes us more predisposed to glaucoma. Then likely genes as southeastern people that makes them more predisposed to glaucoma. So it's not a particular, it's just genes. So they are likely more, from the study that was done, it was more of people from the southeast that were noticed to have glaucoma than people from other regions of Nigeria.
So it is a medical condition tagged the silent thief of sight, right?
Yes.
So how does one or an expert like yourself figure out detection?
Detection is mostly clinical. So that's why we always advise glaucoma patients to come to the eye clinic. Now, the thing with glaucoma is people who have glaucoma, they see normal, they feel their vision is normal, they are not in any form of pain, but they are gradually losing their vision. Like we mentioned in statistics earlier, you said 80 million people have glaucoma. These are detected people. But over 90% of people that may have glaucoma are not aware, because they feel they see normal, they are not in any obvious distress with their eyes, so they carry on. Most discoveries of glaucoma have been rather accidental, because they came for a different thing, then you notice the suspicions of glaucoma, then you run the glaucoma workup test and now realize that this person has glaucoma, and you begin to manage on time. Now, if we are talking about statistics, of these 80 million people that have glaucoma, about 4.5 million people are already completely blind from glaucoma. And what causes people to be blind from glaucoma most times is late detection. So once they notice it very late, management just slows down the progression of glaucoma, and eventually they get blind. So what we're trying to do is manage their sight expectancy, manage the time frame in which they will eventually go blind. So if someone has glaucoma and theoretically may go blind in 10 years, if it's not detected on time and managed as early as possible, if the person comes to the clinic and is found out and begins management, probably the person's sight expectancy may be doubled. So the person may tend to see for another 20 years, may see for another 30 years, or for the rest of his life. But what matters is that the person began to manage it early enough. So glaucoma basically steals your vision silently. That's why it's called the silent thief of sight. So gradually your vision reduces, and then the point when you notice glaucoma, it means it's already late, because at that point there has been an over 40% loss of your vision for you to physically notice glaucoma. And any vision lost from glaucoma cannot be regained. That is why it is referred to as the leading cause of irreversible blindness. You know, when we talk about blindness, some are reversible, some are irreversible. So glaucoma blindness cannot be reversed. So once you lose your vision from glaucoma, you can't reverse it.
From what I've gathered so far, I think awareness is key. But you also talked about early management. Let us look at what to do regarding early management of this eye condition.
Now, management of glaucoma basically is twofold: medical management, surgical management. Now, in all the factors in glaucoma, only the pressures of the eye is the modifiable thing. So let me give an example. What happens in glaucoma is that there's a buildup of eye pressure. And because that pressure is built up in the eye, there is no form of escape. Now, it targets certain areas in the eye which are susceptible to this pressure. And the nerve that connects the eye to the brain is one of the most susceptible places. So it begins to progressively damage the nerve. Now, in management of glaucoma, what we try to do most times is to lower the pressure to a level that is acceptable for the eye. Now, this is different for different people. Some people's eye pressures may seem higher for some people, while others, the pressure is normal. So what we try to do is manage the intraocular pressure to a level that does not cause further damage to the nerve of that person's eye. Now, we start with clinical management with medications. If we try medications and we notice that there is no improvement in the eye pressures, then we can now do surgical management. And even after surgical management, most times these people still have to remain on the medications for the rest of their lives. So glaucoma is a lifelong management thing. So a lot of times we tend to see people who say, oh, they had glaucoma and they feel they are okay now. It's not a matter of had. Once you have glaucoma, you have it for life. It's just like BP. Someone cannot have had high blood pressure and suddenly, or be diagnosed clinically as a hypertensive patient and suddenly stops taking their medication. So once you start your glaucoma medication, it's a lifelong management process.
Okay, I'm going to come to eyeglasses now. I'd like to know, what roles do eyeglasses play in management and detection? Because I'm aware that even with the use of glasses, patients still report good vision at near or at a distance.
Now, glasses does not have a direct management for glaucoma. Glaucoma is majorly managed, like I said, with medications and surgery. However, where glasses come in play is to improve the sight of that patient. Now, if someone has lost vision from glaucoma, a little bit of it may be improved if there's an underlying refractive error. So what the glasses does is to slightly improve the sight of that patient, but does not necessarily recover any lost vision, any vision that has been lost due to glaucoma. So majorly what it does is slightly improving the person's sight. So the person without the glasses, the person is not seeing so well, which is further exacerbated by the presence of glaucoma. So the glasses improves the person's vision slightly, then allows for other management of glaucoma.
But does it play any role in detection?
In detection, no. However, there is a kind of refractive error called myopia, short-sightedness. Now, people with high short-sightedness, high myopia, are likely to have glaucoma because the back of their eyes tend to mimic people that have glaucoma. Now, like I said, glaucoma is only clinically detected. It's not something that you sit on your own in your house and feel that you have glaucoma. You have to run a series of tests in the eye clinic. Then once those tests are run, we now find out that, okay, this person has clinically been diagnosed of glaucoma. So people that have myopia are very likely, they have a higher predisposition to have glaucoma because of the physiological state of their eyes. So it's not like the use of glasses causes glaucoma, but certain people who are in the category of eyeglass users have a higher predisposition to having glaucoma.
But then how often do you think, or should one have an eye examination? You did talk about screening, checking your eyes, but owing to the fact that one may have an underlying condition that is yet to be detected. So how often do you think one should have an eye examination?
Okay, so I'll run us through the life of an average person and where your eye tests should come in. Now, under the age of 40, everybody's expected to have an eye test at least once in 2 years. Naturally, what should be done is from birth to preschool, you should have a screening. So before you resume school, you must have an eye test. It's only few and private schools in Nigeria that have taken up that advice of having your students screened before they resume schooling. Now, the reason for this is 80% of what we know is from our vision, and research has shown that people who have poor vision tend to be poorer in their academic activities. And as simple as an eye check and maybe prescription of glasses or management has improved their academic performance in 2 or 3 folds. So most times that's why we advocate for preschool screening, not just for the eyes now, but for the general health. Now, after your preschool screening, you're advised to have checks regularly every 2 years up until the age of 40. Now, at the age of 40, because of the natural biological decline, most people tend to come down with a lot of health challenges, not just the eye. Now, at this age, we now tell people have regular eye checks once every year. Now, your eye check may even be more frequent, but that is based on the eye condition that is being managed. So for some people, their routine test may happen every 6 months, for some every 2 months, for some every month, some even every 2 weeks. But this time it will not be as prescribed by your doctor. So your doctor, your eye doctor, your optometrist tells you, come every month so that we may have to check your eye pressures, especially now for people that are managing glaucoma. New entrants into glaucoma, one of the managements, we have to check their eye pressures routinely and regularly. So most times it may be a month. So you see a new glaucoma patient, we tell them, okay, come every month as we're managing you. Let's check your eye pressures every month for the next 1 year, for the next 6 months, until we've brought it down to our target eye pressures and is now stable. Then we can now increase their clinic visits to maybe 6 months, a year, or even 2 years based on their age.
Still in line with management and treatment, you did mention about medical treatment. I'd like to know the role of pharmaceuticals. How effective is the use of pharmaceuticals in treating glaucoma?
In terms of managing medical management basically has to do with use of drugs, pharmaceuticals. Now, there are different classes of medications for managing patients that have glaucoma. And in managing glaucoma, we manage on a per patient basis because everybody's physiology is different. So when managing, we try to find out the best drug that causes the best reaction for that particular patient. So there are several classes of drugs which we manage patients with those different classes of drugs. So the patient A may prefer a certain class of drug, patient B may prefer another kind of drug, but what we try to do is to tailor the management to the class of drugs that enables us achieve the highest possible reduction in intraocular pressures for that patient.
So now this March 12th through March 18th has been declared as the Glaucoma Week, World Glaucoma Week. As a member of the Nigerian Optometric Association, what is the message from the Nigerian Optometric Association to Nigerians who, because we keep hampering on awareness, because a lot of people are not aware. So what is the message from your association to people of Nigeria or people worldwide?
The basic message is for people to safeguard their sight. And in safeguarding their sight, what we want them to do is to have regular, routine eye checkups. Now, in this 1 week, majorly what we're trying to do is awareness, education. Even we, the doctors too, we try to educate ourselves more on how to handle these conditions. Sometimes there are new drugs, there are new management procedures, there are new ways which you can handle patients better. So while we are advocating to patients to be aware of certain blinding conditions like glaucoma, we also advocate to ourselves to improve in our education. And we also advocate to public policymakers who have a way of affecting the healthcare system, the kind of drugs that we are, and even its affordability. Because sometimes you may see particular patients whom the kind of drug that is required for them is a little expensive. And the expense is usually a constellation of different factors, from government, from currency fluctuations to all that. So we try to advocate to policymakers to find ways where either they can subsidize these drugs, either they can create more enabling policies for this particular class or group of patients to enable management for them.
The eye is said to be our most developed sensory organ in our body. About 80% of what we perceive are from the eyes. Hence, the need to raise awareness about this particular eye condition, which is tagged as the silent thief of sight. We'll go on a quick break now, and when we return, the program continues in a bit. Don't go away. We're at a facility where free eye screening is given to people as part of measures to help detect, manage, and treat glaucoma.
You're welcome to today's glaucoma screening. So aside from the glaucoma screening, do you have any other issue with your eye? Okay. Is it your first eye exam? Yeah. How is your general health? Are you treating any medical condition? Is there any history of glaucoma in the family? Does anyone use glasses in the family?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Are you allergic to any medication or drug components? Are you currently on any medication? Okay. Although not as busy as it used to be, because this period people are a bit reluctant to come out because of the situation of things, because before now it has usually been a very busy week during this period. But however, people still come in to have their eyes tested, because glaucoma is a silent thief of sight, and we've done the awareness everywhere around the vicinity. So a lot of people are aware of this program, and we also have a lot of eye clinics that are also participating in the free glaucoma screening, just to make sure that we eliminate the occurrence of preventable blindness in Nigeria.
Glaucoma is an eye defect, mostly hereditary, that has affected so many people, but they don't have an opportunity because mostly in rural areas and all of that. And even those in urban settlements, they need to take advantage of stuff like this. It's really nice. My eyes are solid and we can still go for a long time.
Welcome back. If you're just joining in, this is Healthy Living on Trust Television, where we have been talking about the eye condition glaucoma, the dangers and threats posed by this particular eye condition, and the way forward for people living with this condition. Okay, so you've been in this line of work for years now. I'd like to know, regarding this week that has been set aside, regarding the week set aside for World Glaucoma Week, what has been the impression of people when it comes to glaucoma? We're trying to establish how often people seek medical care, eye care, and now that the week has been assigned for this purpose, the week comes in yearly, and then this is another year for the week. What would you say is the general perception of people from day one of the beginning of the week through to the end, and then the activities that we run through and all of that?
Expectations of people, most times with World Glaucoma Week, what we try to do is to do free screenings, free glaucoma screenings and workup for different people. And Nigerians, a lot of times, usually wait for periods of free screening before they have eye checks. Now, it's good because once they come for this free screening, we are also equally able to educate them, let them know on how regularly they should have eye checks and not necessarily wait for free periods of free screening for them to have their eyes checked. Now, also, this free screening enables more people to come to the eye clinic. And once they come to the eye clinic, we are further able to detect these conditions, different conditions, especially glaucoma. Now, over the years, in fact, almost on a per year basis, once we run this free eye screening, we almost always see at least maybe 5% of the people screened having glaucoma. So without this avenue to have their eyes freely screened for glaucoma, they may have not been detected until it's late. So one of the ways is the uptake. People usually, once we inform them about clinics running the free screening, there's a good uptake. They have their eyes screened. Luckily, a good majority don't have glaucoma, but at least for the few that have glaucoma, we are able to detect it. For some, early enough, for some, late enough. 2 years ago, we had a patient that had already lost one eye without even realizing. So it was while we did the glaucoma screening, he realized that one of his eyes was not even seen at all. So these are the kind of news that we usually get that makes us more steadfast in running these kind of advocacy programs, advocacy week, setting aside. Now, every day in a year is a glaucoma day, is an eye check day, is a day to have your eyes tested. But we just set this week aside to ensure that we are able to educate people more, have certain amenities and facilities available to the public to access, and also see them, manage them, give them free treatment and educate them.
I'm always very particular about the mental health aspect of every encounter with a patient and a doctor. Now, this medical condition, eye condition, is I don't want to say life-threatening, but then it's a leading cause of irreversible blindness in people. So now, you've had to deal with people who have these conditions. How do you manage them regarding their emotions? It's not easy for you to tell someone that they have this condition and this is the end product. And then to you, as the expert, how do you deal with the emotions that come with discovery through management and treatment?
Most times we've noticed that there's always a psychological strain on patients realizing that they have certain eye conditions or health conditions, especially those that they have to manage for the rest of their lives. It's easier for those whom is detected early enough, while it's a little bit harder for those whom are detected at the late stages. However, counseling is part of the job. It's one of the ways patients are managed. Like I told you, glaucoma is managed on a per patient basis. So you have to do a little psych eval of the patient, evaluate their psychology, evaluate how well they are taking the information you're giving them. Definitely, you always see those that are really sad about it, but that's where psychological management comes in, through patient counseling, through regularized visits, ensuring that, because the truth is, if a patient accepts it early enough, they are able to be more compliant to the management of glaucoma. A patient who does not accept it will definitely not take medications or any other form of management seriously. So most times what we do is to counsel them. We always counsel glaucoma patients. Now, in counseling, different aspects include how they take their medications, how they live their lives, how they modify their lives around managing the condition. For some people, even how to take their medications some patients, we advise them, okay, set an alarm since it's every day. Since this drug maybe twice daily, set an alarm for so and so time every day, so that even if you forget, even if you are so busy, you are able to take your medication. Talk to your family members. Encourage your family members too to have an eye test. Then you can also be an advocate for people who may not know that they have glaucoma, because a lot of people feel more relatable seeing the patient's angle than seeing it from the angle of the doctor or the optometrist speaking about this condition. So psychologically, patient counseling is usually paramount, and every other way of handling their psyche.
It must have been a busy week. How are the optometrists coping with the stress of patients probably trooping into the clinic at this particular period?
Well, for the average optometrist, this week is a week for corporate social responsibility. So that's why they are even willing in the first place to open up their clinics, open up their hospitals to allow for free access of patients into them and have their eyes screened for glaucoma free of charge. So it's busy, yes. It's really challenging, yes. But it's a corporate social responsibility. And one of the things of healthcare, in as much as we are trying to manage these patients, we are also trying to go out of our way to ensure that healthcare is accessible, affordable, and available to everybody. So I guess they will just zero their minds for this week and be sure that they carry out these tests for everybody in Abuja, Nigeria, because it's a global program. So optometrists not only in Nigeria, but if you go to Ghana, if you go to the United States, Canada, optometrists globally are managing a lot of patients on this particular World Glaucoma Week, auspices of the World Glaucoma Week.
Despite its severity, up to 90% of people living with glaucoma are undiagnosed. That is why we urge you to take advantage of this week, 12th March through 18th March, to access some of these medical facilities where you have experts on standby waiting to get your eyes screened. For comments, contributions, and suggestions on these episodes, do well to follow and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. Join us again on another episode of Healthy Living on Trust Television. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thanks for watching.